Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classics Less Non-Classics. This is episode number 1665 and Doubleshot number 1559. Now, I have two Marvel trades, and they both feature characters created by Stan Lee, well, mostly Jack Kirby, though Stan Lee helped create one of these series. I'll start one of them. First up it is Captain America, Heroes Reborn, the Complete Collection, Book 1. This contains the first 12 issues of Captain America Volume 3, along with the Iron Man / Captain America AO 98 and Captain America / Citizen V 98. 98 was basically a year when it comes to annuals for this is for Marvel. DC didn't do this, as far as I can tell, did it for Marvel, where they did basically all the annuals that came out in the year 1998 were team-up annuals. The Iron Man one basically was also collected, I think, also in the first big collection for Iron. Basically, Iron Man / Captain America 98, it kind of counts as an annual for Iron Man. For the Captain America / Citizen V, it counts for Captain America per se. It was mostly two team stories, and in the case of the Citizen V one, that's mostly Captain America team up with the female Citizen V, not Zemo, who at this point was posing as Citizen V. It's just basically a team story. And those stories are done by Kurt Busiek, Roger Stern, Carl Kitzler, and Bob Kitzler. Mark Waid does the main series. Now, basically we have Captain America returning after the events of Heroes Reborn. Yes, the very same thing where Captain America sticks out his chest, and that was something done by Rob Liefeld, though he did the first half of that particular Heroes Reborn stuff for Captain America. Now, in the case of this book, now they do mention it's been 1 year since the events of Onslaught. The specific Onslaught came out in 1986. This came out in 1998. And as soon as he gets back, does he fight with his own villains? No. The first villain he fights is Lady Deathstrike, a Wolverine villain, which, by the way, she's actually in her most familiar attire. Yes, this all deals because Cap's in Japan. Yes, it all deals with the anniversary of World War II. And here she is, Lady Deathstrike in her classic attire. Yep. For a lot of people, this is the look people are familiar with. The current look has her basically still cybernetic, but not with this look anymore. No, for some reason Marvel decided to copy the look from the Kelly Lou look, from X2 X-Men United, and that's what they use since then. Do not know why, it's just that they did that. And she was the first villain Cap fought against. And they probably think, okay, does he fight the Red Skull in these issues? Nope. Does he fight Patrick Leaper? Yes. Yes, he does. His primary villain for the first half of these issues is none other than Hydra themselves, who are headed by Supreme Hydra. He's like, nah, don't call me Supreme Hydra. Call me Sensational Hydra. And he does this, and he chops up a guy's arm, uses it as he whacks things with it. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah, then to about issue 6, this particular Supreme Hydra is a Skrull. Of course, a Skrull. Yep, a Skrull. Also, Captain America reunites with his old love interest from the 1970s, Sharon Carter. Who I should point out, though, prior to this, she'd been dead for 20 years. Yeah, they kind of retconned her death that happened back in the 1970s. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, why the heck would Marvel retcon something like this? It's Marvel. They do this all the frickin' time. Also, because the fact Cat's back, she decides to reactivate her S.H.I.E.L.D. commission. Yeah, she does. For some reason. I don't know why. Now, her last appearance prior to this. Okay, this felt like they had this thing here. In the case of Sharon Carter, yeah, she apparently died back in 237, but she later was revealed to be alive in Captain America 446. Where basically she faked her death, and this is her reuniting with him. Mm-hmm. Yep, reuniting with him. Yeah, so she activates the Shield Commission, and she basically becomes Captain America's partner. And as for if they basically go back into a relationship, that actually doesn't happen until Ed Brubaker takes on the book. Yep. Also, Captain America fights the Rhino in here. Yep. Also, Captain America has this thing. He goes through various different shields because apparently his shield was dropped in the ocean, and he can't ask Namor to retrieve it for him. Nope. At first, he gets a duplicate shield made for him by Tony Stark. He also briefly uses his old square shield that he hasn't used since 1941. And later on, he gets an energy shield, which he does reuse when Ed Brubaker does the Captain America Steve Rogers miniseries. He actually used it again in the early 2010s. But this book here, it's an absolute fantastic start to the Captain America run. And here's something, though, when it comes to the writer Mark Waid. Now, this run itself would actually have, I think, about just a couple writers. Now, this technically was the start of Mark Waid's second run for the book. And you're thinking, second run? Yes, because he worked on the Captain America book prior to this one. And he was the original of this book here, but he left after issue 23. And you're thinking, why the heck would he leave after 23 issues? I have no idea. Because I think he hands it off to Dan Jurgens with issue 24. No, he hands it to Tom DeFalco. But Dan Jurgens does become a regular writer for a lot of this run. Yeah, Tom DeFalco himself, he was definitely a writer of this book. I really wish he had stuff out here. Yes, he takes over issue 24. I think he stays on for just a couple issues. Also, Tom DeFalco had one of the most. I think he had like the second longest run on Mighty Thor. At least Thor. Yes. I think for Captain America, I think it stays on for just a couple issues. Stop that, please. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's just a couple issues he's on here for. Because I think it's just a couple issues. Actually, no, it's one issue, and then Dan Jurgens takes over for pretty much the rest of this run. He also worked on Thor this period of time. But in the case of this book itself, it's really good. And this is a fairly recent book. This book only came out just a couple years ago. Now, the artwork is done by Ron Gurney, Dale Inglesham, Andy Kubert, Pat Churcher, and Mark Bagley. The front cover here is done by Ron Gurney and Bob Winnick. The back cover here, this is done by Mark Bagley, Carl Kitzler, Tori Holley, and Rich Horry. Yep. Book is fantastic. I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Next up is The Fantastic Four. The Heroes Return, Complete Collection, Book 3. This contains issues 33 to 45 of Fantastic Four Volume 3. Along with Fantastic Fourth Voyage of Sinbad, and the Inhumans miniseries. This technically is the third volume for Inhumans. Now, so I'll just point out, though, with this very book itself, the volume of Volume 3, at this point, you only have 25 issues left before it gets renumbered back to 500. Yep, that's seriously true. Almost forgot to mention the case of the Captain America book. That lasted 50 issues before hitting the restart button. And that lasted 32 issues before that hit the restart button again after Avengers Assemble. And that lasted for several years before basically relaunching several times. Now, Captain America has been relaunched many times over the years. As a matter of fact, I saw in the April's list we finally got a new Captain America book. In case this book here, this book has not been relaunched very much over the years. At this point in time, this was only the second ever relaunch. The next ever relaunch happened for Fantastic Four would not happen until 2015. That long period of time before that one happened. And then it happened again in 2016. And then nothing for a couple years. And then actually no, it was 2012 got relaunched. And then relaunched 2014. And then after the book ended, then after running, then they got relaunched again, this time in 2018. It's still published right now by Dan Slott. Now, this book, unlike Captain America, which only had 3 writers, 50 issues, this book had several writers, in these issues alone. You had John Francis Moore, Chris Pachero, who was also the cover, who was also the artist here, Raphael Murrin, Jeff Loeb, and Chris Claremont. The artwork in here is done by Salvador Roca, Carlos Pachito, Stuart Immonen, Joe Bennett, Jeff Johnson, Basil Fury, Laron, and Jorge Lucas. The cover here, this is Carlos Pachito, along with Jesus Maria and Liquid. The back cover artist is basically Carlos Pachito, Jesus Moreno, and Steve Pachito. Now, one thing noteworthy happening in these issues is that in issue 35, we have the destruction of of Pier 4, which for this run, that was the main base operations of Fantastic Four, and was destroyed by Diablo, the Master of Alchemy. Yes, this old Fantastic Four villain. Thank you, Stanley Jack Kirby. And pretty much with the destruction of Pier 4, basically Reed Richards works with Noah Baxter, who it's written here he was the original owner of the Baxter building, which Reed Richards bought from him, and he basically launches a new Baxter building. Yep, a brand new one. Which, here's a fun fact for you, still around to this very day. Yep, still there. As a matter of fact, Fantastic Four have since moved back into the Baxter building after them kicked out once, as far as they've been kicked out once, as far as I know. They were kicked out during James Robinson's run, and the building fell into the hands of Peter Parker for Parker Industries for about 2 years for building got sold off, and then of course it basically became the headquarters of Fantastic X before they gave it back to Fantastic Four, which they're back in Baxter building right now. So this first Baxter building is still around this very day. And this first popped up, I believe, in issue 36, if I'm not mistaken. Because this is technically the second Baxter building. Yes, the second one. And you're thinking, second. Yes. There's a reason for that. Because the original Baxter building was destroyed when John Byrne took over the book. Yes. And it was with issue 38 of this run. We had a brand new Baxter building. Yep. Yes, the Fantastic Four building was destroyed in... Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, it was destroyed back in issue 276 when John Byrne took over the book. Yep. And this was back in 1985 when the building was destroyed. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And this new version was built in 2000. Yep. So for 15 years, the Batmobile was not around, but it was brought back and it's still around this very day. Now, aside fighting Diablo, the first few issues had the Fantastic Four go to this backwater town, which apparently the sheriff's department is not very cooperative because, oh, I don't really heard of you, never really heard you. It just there's also a Kid Colt, which is quite interesting in here. Mm-hmm. And that last first couple issues, and then stuff with Diablo, who destroys the Pier 4. And here it is, the brand new Baxter building. This building still exists. 22 years later, still standing. You might be asking, has this building ever been damaged? Yes. It was damaged a couple times over the years since this showed up. The first time it was officially damaged was when the Baxter building was transported to negative zone. Well, part of the Baxter was destroyed when it was transported to negative zone back in Secret Invasion during 2008, and it was damaged again. I think it was in like 20. It was basically when Gary Duggan was writing the Hulk, when the Hulk briefly occupied the Baxter building when the Fantastic Four were not there, and then was fixed by of course Parker Industries, where the building itself remained perfectly fine. It was never damaged when Peter Parker ran it. And since then, it's been perfectly fine since then. Yep. And we have this, and then, of course, also with the return of the Vax building, also the return of the classic Fantastic Four costumes. Also, here's a fun fact for you. When I start reading comic books back in 2004, this very outfit that Fantastic Four wearing right here, that's the outfits they're wearing when I was reading comic books back in 2004. And I think Wade was still writing the book at that point. I'm not sure. But yes, you got... Now, this is kind of interesting, though. You start off basically with Fantastic Four wearing these ridiculous costumes. And now we're back to the standard classic stuff. Which I got handed to the writer of this book who did this. I think it was Carlos Bachia who did this, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Carlos Bachito, Jeff Loeb, and Ralph Martin basically did this for this fantastic idea of bringing back the Vax building. Yep, and now we're back doing standard stuff like a bit of time traveling, some sorcery here and there. Basically standard stuff like Fantastic Four. And also, here's a little fun fact for you. Issue 42. Yeah, with issue 42, because 40 didn't have this. 42 started something basically that would exist up into issue 70 of this run. The dual numbering, which of course Marvel has since brought that back recently. Yeah, they actually brought this back recently with Fresh Start. Mm-hmm. Yep. And some books did have this for quite some time, and then of course it dropped. Yes. Mm-hmm. And of course by Nihilus. Of course also they also did with Namor in here. Yeah, basically as soon as Baxman comes back, we're back to classic Fantastic Four style stories, which do appreciate that here. Yep. This book is really good. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Or does this book do a great job with this book? Fantastic job with it. Yep. So yeah, that's it for Cycle Review. Stay tuned next week, which will be 2 DC books. Okay? Next video. Bye.